We are live. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining in. My name is Bob Foster. I work with the Hoboken Historical Museum, and this is one of our Artist Talks interviews. We do this every time we're going to open a new show in the upper gallery, and we're very excited to introduce you to Joan Michel, and she'll be having an opening this Sunday. And this is live, so you're actually, if you're listening live, it's before the opening, and it's supposed to create interest. You can go onto YouTube, Facebook, and other social media platforms to check this out, and simply put in museum, Joan Michel, and then we have this wacky title for the exhibit, which is Cavemen Built My Skateboard. But let's bring Joan onto the screen.
Hi,
there
guys.
She is. Great. And I guess, we're going to sort of look at some of your past work, some of your projects, and who knows where the conversation will go. But tell us about the Caveman Built My Skateboard. What's that all about?
So my project that has the long title, Cavemen Built My Skateboard, is a documentary that is focused on a young teenager who also skateboards, and it's based in Jersey City, New Jersey. And pretty much I shot it all on film, but what we're also showcasing in the Hoboken Historical Museum is the photos that I also photographed along with the documentary. So a lot of people haven't seen the photos, they've just seen the documentary.
We got it. And we will show a little clip of the documentary later and some more photos from the series. But before we do that, let's talk about some of your art background, photography background, and some of your past projects.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. So let's bring up a slide. And this is kind of fun for me. I know Joan as being a student at NJCU, where she just graduated, and I just opted out. So this is pretty cool that she's exhibiting here in the museum. And I don't really know her photography work except for some of the fashion, I would say. And so is this part of a series, or what's this all about?
So as per requested, but this is the subject of this photo is my mother. And she always likes to be in front of the camera, opposite of me. And so it actually works out. And we actually photographed this at home. And what I have actually on my left wrist is a tattoo of my father. My father passed away in 2014. So it's a portrait of him with a peony.
You may want to really hold it out there. There you go.
I don't know if you can see it, but I gotta twist my arm.
Okay.
And I had this done in Korea. So my mom's still alive. However, I told her that I wanted to have her tattooed on my right wrist one day, but I actually wanted to have the photo already set. So this is the photo that would be tattooed on my arm eventually.
Really?
Yeah.
And
she's like, do it now. Like, why do you have to wait until I pass?
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Yeah.
And I just think visually it's kind of cool that, they're touching in a sense.
Yeah, my mom jokes that my sister should be in the back of my neck or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your background, your ethnic background.
I'm Filipino, but born in Sea Caucus, but raised in Jersey City. And both parents are from the Philippines, but then came here. Dad was here first, then mom. And then I was born and my sister was born 10 months later. So we're Irish twins. And that's it. Yeah.
And so you're first generation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And any kind of pressure from mom about, how to succeed being first generation?
Not necessarily. I think it's more of the mindset of the American dream and what she perceives how you should live and grow up here in America, but then realizing like you just can't, control necessarily everything in your child's life because it was a different lifestyle back home in the Philippines and then here in America. So, I mean, she now accepts that both her daughters are creative and we're not going to do the nursing field, but it is what it is. Yeah.
We got Cassandra signing in, saying, "Hey, Joan."
Hi, Cassandra. Cassandra's my sister's best friend.
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
And your sister is in the arts also,
Yeah.
and you tend to be more photography and media and film.
Yeah.
And she's
focusing on majoring in NJCU for illustration.
okay.
Yeah.
So you're not competing within the same medium. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That can create tension. And so those flowers are pretty amazing. Is that something your mom gardens, I think?
Yes, you've seen my mom's garden. My mom loves flowers. She has the green thumb in the family. We all don't, besides her. Yeah.
And so you pick that the dress to go with the flowers.
Yeah, I chose everything. She just literally was the model for it. She had no clue what I was going to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure. That's pretty cool. I think I've seen your mom on like Zoom or something.
Yeah. During class.
Definitely. We're besties to Joan. That's cool. Sisterhood. I like that. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Same series. Yeah.
Different
I mean,
setup, but still
mom.
mom. Yeah.
Right.
And so the backdrop's actually a comforter, but just imitating a vintage floral background. And then I made the flower crown with artificial flowers, and then just got this red shawl. Have this like I don't know, back in the day vintage kind of look and feel. My mom has that like old Hollywood feel, right? So my mom, I believe, aspires always to one day, be a celebrity or an actress of some sort, or a singer. I don't know. So, to make her dream happen, we just photograph her as if she's,
So you like photographing her?
I mean, I'm working on a project where I'm documenting her, throughout the years, and, hopefully it'll be a nice montage to look at one day. I just felt that I wasn't able to document my father as much. And so while, learning from that, I want to photograph my mom more.
Sure.
Yeah.
Say again how old you were when your dad passed?
I was 22. I'm 29 now.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. It's a beautiful shot and very classical. Definitely has connections to classical painting. How are you lighting something like this?
It's just with a LED light. I don't really, I could use strobes and natural light, but this was just one light.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Very like Rembrandt.
Right, which, many times the classical painters would paint with north light and one light. And so it has that same type of deep richness.
Yeah.
Wow. Goonie, vote like a boss. Hi, Joan. We are a big fan. Rika, Nadia, and Andrew.
Yes.
Who are these people?
So Rika and Nadia and Andrew, they're obviously one whole family, but also they are good friends of mine. I always photograph Nadia, who is Rika's daughter. And they're just big support in all the things that I do, and I really appreciate them.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And just reminding people, we have an opening on this Sunday, so it will be kind of controlled visitation for the opening. We'll do things on the main floor, outdoors and indoors, and kind of restrict just because we're still in the whatever it is we're in. And we're taking those precautions. You get into a lot of technical stuff. And so is this done with shall we say, a new digital camera as opposed to traditional film?
No, this is all the photos that are going to be shown tonight are shot on film.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And so why film versus, shall we say, digital?
I think that's like the number one question I get all the time.
Yeah, I mean, you grew up in the digital photo time.
Yeah, but then when I started college, not at NJCU, at School of Visual Arts, my first year was just all analog film. So my dad let me borrow his 35mm camera and then studied that.
Sure.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't have printed your own color and things like that, really?
Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll take a look at another slide here. Wow, so big. Tell me about this project.
So it's not a project per se. It's my grandmother on my father's side. So my grandmother surpassed, my father in a sense. My grandmother died at 99 a few years ago. And I was fortunate enough to be there, before she passed away and then be there for the funeral. I was the only grandchild that was there. But I included this in the sequence that we're going to be looking at just because also documented on film. But I feel that, I have this deep connection with my grandmother. Ever since my father passed, I would go to the Philippines every year after to visit my dad, but also visit her because I felt like as her grandchild, it was like my responsibility to now look after her and see her, since my father would usually be the one who would give her a phone call every week and stuff like that. And then now, he's not there to do that.
Sure.
Yeah.
So this was taken in the Philippines.
Yes.
I take it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And did you see connections? Oh, no, she's not your mother's mother. It was your father's mother.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess we'll go to another slide. Tell me about this.
So this was actually a project that I exhibit at the Mana Contemporary in Jersey City. I photographed this as a way of Duterte is the president of the Philippines, and there's a lot of controversy. I get asked a lot, do your parents support him and whatnot? And it's interesting because just like over here with, the political status of what's going on, it could be very, controversial. And so I put this photo shoot together where it's pretty much the poster says the name of the president, and then Labanan means fight, pretty much like going against him because, just the fact that a lot of people are not supported with the idea of just, killing somebody for just the fact that they've done something wrong. And so obviously this was shot in Jersey City, but I had someone who just pretended as to be the dead person per se. And then I had, one of my friends' child to pretend to be someone who's from the Philippines. Just this whole just setting it all up as if I was shot it there. But I wanted to create a statement, just the fact that, the youth is seeing somebody, dead. And then it's just because of who's, the president there right now.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you do a picture like this, do you have other people along to kind of help explain to other people what's going on? Or
I had a artist statement alongside with this, and even when I posted on social media, a lot of people, resonated with what I wrote and what I just explained just now. But obviously in the Philippines, it's 50-50 depending on where your opinion lies, towards.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't know that much about the political climate.
Mm-hmm.
If you did this picture in the Philippines, would you be arrested?
I don't think I would be arrested. I just think that maybe people out there would maybe try to cancel me or something like that.
And what do you mean by cancel?
Cancel in a sense would be they're so supportive about the president, and they would probably be what are you doing? Why would you make our leader look bad?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Sure. And was this part of a series? Marley,
my sister.
Is your sister. And I should comment, you and your sister did some masks for us. We did a mask project, who knows when, April, May of last year.
Mm-hmm.
And your sister and you did beautiful masks.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. It was like an art project. We were creating artifacts from the pandemic. And was this a series, or was this really the photo?
It was the photo.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it looks pretty real in a way.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that you didn't go for a fake gun or trying to make the gun. His gesture is enough.
Yeah.
I think. And there's something interesting about, is that a young kid in the background? One arm is kind of blasé, and the other arm is his finger pointing a gun.
Yeah.
And not that he shot him, but there's something about he's sort of taking in what happened.
Yeah,
Is the way I
exactly.
see it.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of confronting, death,
Yeah.
and then the political nature of it too. It's pretty interesting. So I actually love our backdrop with the skateboarder.
Yeah.
I want to thank Rand. Thank you obviously for taking it, but
Yeah.
Rand picked out pictures. Rand Huppy is our engineer for the
Yeah.
program
Thank you.
and keeps us on track. Okay, moving forward. So you have such a range of styles.
Yeah. Going
Um,
through the images and trying to figure out what to showcase today.
Right, but it's interesting that you're trying out lots of different things and very adaptable. And do you think eventually you'll just specialize in one type of work? Or this might have been a job, I'm going to guess, or not?
No, it was an editorial that got published in a magazine.
Uh-huh.
I think the common theme is that I do a lot of portraiture. However, it's just the narrative is different, or the job that it's for is different.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you have a client, you do have to fulfill, the needs of the client, but you're also doing a lot of interesting interpretations and creativity, and keeps you going. So you don't feel like it's just a job, I guess.
I mean, I'm grateful that I get clients that really hire me for my work. They're not just like, oh, you can hold a camera, so you can just do the job.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you're projecting on her,
Mhm.
or yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
And the hand is pretty creepy, actually, as I start to look at it.
Yeah.
Was there a focus to this picture?
There's a sequence. This is like one out of a set.
Right.
But out of all of them, this one is like one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
And the makeup artist, it was her idea to do a projection like onto the model.
Right.
And she chose the projections. I didn't. I just photographed.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the shoot.
And if it's editorial, there was a point of view, perspective. What was it?
Honestly, it was just for a makeup magazine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was reading all sorts of things into it,
yeah.
so I won't go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And what do we got next? Okay. And you love fashion, right? Fashion and portraiture.
Yeah, that was like my base for like 10 years.
Mhm.
I feel like I've just been focusing on fashion editorial.
Right. And so, fashion changes, it's kind of fickle, different styles.
Yeah.
But there's certain, photographers that you might have considered as influences or people you look towards. And anyone come to mind for fashion mentors?
Well, two people that I really look up to is they're not necessarily like the ones that you see in the magazine per se, but it's Conan Tai. I actually assisted him for a while. He's based in Brooklyn, New York, and he does these like very dark, moody editorials. And then Bon Duke, he is an alumni at School of Visual Arts. He does more of fashion editorial videos and portraiture, like photos as well. And so both of them, I'm just really lucky I got to meet and actually talk to, and just, bounce ideas and things like that.
Sure. And so, an important part of the project with your skateboarder is, and can you say his name? I'm sorry.
His name is Iggy.
Iggy. Okay. So that project, do you think, like, you're showing work in the museum in the upper gallery of the photographs, and but there's a film too, a 10-minute film, and is one more important to the other? Do they work together? Do you get more energy from the film because of sound and moving image?
I mean, definitely with music, everybody wants to, dance or, I don't know, get up and feel the energy from that. But if you see the photos, if you see the documentary, even the photo book, like everything coincides within each other.
Okay, so they're all important.
Yeah.
but you're like when you went to. I'm talking a little bit more about documenting Iggy. So you're bringing like a ton of. You're bringing your film cameras. You're bringing your video camera, and in a sense, the video camera is the smallest camera, probably, right?
Well, the
Almost.
Bolex is pretty big.
The Bolex. Yeah, the Bolex, and
Yeah.
you brought some cameras. We'll look at them in a little while, but
Yeah.
I just had this image of you, like, what do I pick up?
Yeah, always. I have like maybe 5 cameras all at once,
Mm-hmm.
and then just swapping.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Mhm.
And then you realize there's no film in that one camera,
Or the
right?
batteries dying. Yeah.
Exactly. You have to have like a camera mechanic with you to keep a lot of this stuff operating.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And so in a shoot like this that we're looking at, how many people, I'm sorry, how much film are you shooting? Is it like?
Sometimes just like 3 different cameras, like 1 roll each.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. And cool. Okay. So we're going on to another image, I think. Interesting. So real tattoos?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And what's the deal with tattoos? I don't think I ever got it. Is it a form of like I control my look and it's like decoration, or
My mom thinks they're stickers. She doesn't think tattoos are real on people.
I'm with mom. With mom. Yeah.
For me, I mean, I didn't get my tattoo until maybe like 25 or 26, so it's late. And for me, I only have 2, so I don't have many as this model here. But for me, it's more of just like a sentimental thing.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's sort of ornamentation. I don't know. It's my own bias.
Yeah.
But I always think of, it sounds really tacky, but I always think this poor guy, when he goes for an interview,
Oh, yeah.
what the hell does he do?
Yeah.
I mean,
maybe that's why he's a model.
That's why he's a model. He's a tattoo model. Joseph Rivera. Hey, Joan, I have a question. What was the defining moment that made you choose your doc as your project?
Oh, man, that's like
defining moment. Good question, Joseph.
I think when I met Iggy, I felt that I had to do it. Yeah. And like I said, if he didn't agree to it, then I probably wouldn't do this project at all and just scratch it and do something else.
So he defined the moment.
Yeah, I guess.
He gave the go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll get to some more of Iggy shots and so on. Hey, Joan, this is great so far. Look at that hair. Queen Damo. Is that real?
Yes, that's her. So her name is Dom Dom. Well, that's how we call her. It's Cassandra's sister.
Okay.
Yeah. Who left a message earlier.
Right. So you have a whole little posse going. I love it. And are these people you grew up with in Jersey City, or more that you met from doing different shoots or crossover? Or?
Well, Cassandra and my sister have been friends since high school.
Right.
And then met her sister through, and then Joseph's my best friend.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, cool. And what's the book he's looking at there? Is it marking that kind of is supposed to connect with his tattoos?
I think we just didn't want to scratch the table, the desk, But for me, I just always have these like dark concepts. So there's a knife involved.
It's so funny. For some reason, I might be too close to the screen, but I didn't see the knife.
Yeah.
And of course, it's right there. So interesting. Okay. I recognize the Jersey City shoreline, sort of.
It's
Bayonne,
it's like borderline Jersey, Bayonne. Yeah.
Right on the edge there.
Yeah.
I love that shot, actually.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah. I'm not sure why. It's just really simple. And it just looks like doesn't look like Jersey City. It looks like another country.
Yeah.
And he's just sort of looking into the abyss and contemplating future on there. But I like that. And the markings are so interesting. Are they real markings?
Yes.
They probably are. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Interesting. And how did that shot come about?
So Cinestill is a film brand like Kodak and Ilford. Cinestill repackage or black and white double X film, the same as the Kodak double X,
Right.
where Raging Bull and like other films were shot with.
Mm-hmm.
So they just came out with a 120 medium format version, and then so I bought a roll of that and then wanted to test it out.
Gotcha.
So these are one of the images that I shot. Yeah, with it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's sort of like you're participating with his experience viewing. That's why I like it. Cool. And
so this is an Instax wide, like a Polaroid. People who are gonna kill me for saying Polaroid because they're two different brands. It's Fuji, but this other brand called Lomography. They just came out with a 4x5 attachment in the back, where you know how back then you would have a peel apart film.
Sure.
To see your 4x5.
Right.
But now they came out with a product where literally you put the Fuji film in the back, and then a Polaroid, well, not Polaroid, but Instax film would come out. Yeah.
Okay, I think I got it.
Yeah. So that is where that came from, the new product they just released.
Sure. So the original of this is fairly small.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
it's
Yeah.
like 2 by 3 inches. You got one right here?
Well, it's not exact, but it's just literally, like
right.
this size.
Just hold that up.
Yeah. Like
okay, I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. And probably costs what? $1 a shot or?
Well, that's where, people are like, confused, like what to buy, whether you buy like a Polaroid, which is more, compared to Fuji, it's way cheaper.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
And a very beautiful color though, too.
Yeah, and the sharpness is good too.
Yeah, just kind of a muted thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm learning about what's available in the instant photography.
Yeah. That's me.
Tell me. That's you.
Yeah. My sister usually helps me with my crazy ideas. So in case I need a self-portrait, she's there I'll set it up. She'll press it. But yeah, these are the times where I'm just like, I have this idea. Let's test it out. She's like, you're crazy. You're going to burn yourself.
Right. And mom's not around when you're doing this.
I mean, she's just kind of accepting at this point.
She's in the garden.
Yeah.
Right. But tell me more. You chose to show this, so you just have to explain it maybe.
Like I said, going back to most of my personal short films that I've been working on have these like factors that are about me, but then also, you just wouldn't know unless you really knew who I was. But my sister and I were both working on this during the pandemic. It's just like really strong visuals of me, and then this was like from one of the ones that we were shooting. Yeah, I don't know, I just saw a photo of this girl crying with like her eyes covered like that, and I just wanted to copy the whole thing. Yeah.
Gotcha. So you're relating this to isolation during COVID, or is that too simple?
No, it's just literally just like, I feel like this is maybe me in the background, but people don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm pushing a little further. So you're lighting up.
Yeah, it's an actual cigarette. Yeah.
It's a cigarette.
Yeah.
Okay, we defined that.
Yeah.
And is that like a blowtorch or what?
No,
it's a little hard for me to read. It's like a handle.
It's one Yeah, for like the
barbecue. Okay, I got it. There's something that looks a little different, but I got it. I got it. Like a big Bic lighter kind of thing. Okay, moving on. Oh God, I miss you. And so is this from a series of you, like where you're the subject, or?
This is not me, but this is from a still from a film that I showed you, like my first year at school.
Okay.
Where it was like a guy who was on a phone booth.
Okay.
And he was calling his partner, or girlfriend, and then he was leaving a voicemail. And then, anyways, this is a still from that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. And So when you see this image, do you think of the whole shoot, or does it stand alone? Or
I think out of all the frames, this is the one that sticks out the most.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then it goes back to using the projector and stuff like that.
Sure, sure. Okay. Here's Goonie again. How do you choose what you're going to base your next project around? Like if Iggy's not around, what do you do?
Panic. No, I don't know. Usually, well, Rika's funny. Our inside joke is that, you know, when you like have a number and you're waiting online for your turn to go do what you have to do or whatever.
Sure.
If you're at the fish market, let's say. So with Rika, we always say that, oh, you're number 153 or something like that, and you gotta wait till it's your turn for a photo shoot. So I guess that's why she's asking, like, how do I know what I'm gonna work on next?
Right.
So for me, it's all depends on like the timing and I guess what's the deadline, right? But if it's a personal project, then it's just matters of like, yeah, the time of like how I'm feeling and what I want to put out there.
Right. I mean, a lot of filmmakers, just because there's so much time involved and it's collaborative, many times they're working on 3 or 4 projects to get the okay on whatever. But with still photos, you have a little more control on the project, right? It's not as collaborative, except if your subject is not around.
Yeah, or you're using a team.
Right.
Then it would be collaborative. Yeah.
Sure, sure. But you like to collaborate, I think.
I feel like sometimes it's easier when you have people that are reliable, and
that's the hard part.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And you know that they understand your vision, but if you're working with people that are just going to make things take longer, then it's just forget it. I would rather not do it by myself.
But I'm going to guess that you have enough good friends who kind of respect the product that it's kind of easier to get them involved.
Yeah.
You know?
Like I said, I wouldn't work with a client if they didn't believe in my vision.
If
they didn't know my work, then it's just like, why are you hiring me? Yeah.
Right. And how are you able to connect with those people, especially now, like good clients?
I just literally either on a Zoom call or meet in person. I still do that or prefer phone calls. I know people don't like to be on the phone, and I just really get a feel of just where their head's at. I'm trying to have a conversation. I'm not really just trying to get to the end result right away.
Right. Yeah. So if someone gives you a bad feeling, like they're not going to give you enough space to do what you do, unless you really need the money, you might sort of, pass on the project.
Yeah, I don't have a problem saying no to things. I'm not, very eager or desperate looking for a job or money. And sometimes I would recommend them to somebody else, I'm even nice enough to do that, know, and not just leave them hanging.
Sure. Not a lot of people will do that. It's a competitive world out there. And these days, anyone thinks they can take a photograph. So it gets, I think, a little harder, Okay, we're moving on.
You remember this one?
I don't. I have
This was the one that was screened at the Lowe's. And then you didn't like the background music.
Really?
Yeah, you were like, it didn't match.
Were you late? No, I'm just kidding. Okay. I don't remember, but that's terrible. Yeah. He's very cool looking. And
a lot of people thought because this was 2019, they're like, oh, this was you saw the future already with the pandemic.
Exactly. I mean, I actually don't remember the project.
Yeah.
And
so this was for film 1 with Roddy. And we just had to, do certain he had a shot list. You have to just demonstrate that you were able to understand what that meant. And then so instead of just shooting anything and everything, I literally set up a whole shoot where I wanted this guy to look like a mad scientist.
He sort of does.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know what was going on really, but he sort of, there's something about the deepness set of his eyes and not too much light on it.
Yeah.
He's wearing a mask, but the eyes are always so important, what's going on.
Yeah.
And you just can't tell. And Actually, you brought your Bolex, which was
Yeah.
probably, was this film shot on a similar type camera?
Yeah.
Can you hold up your Bolex?
So
2 hands? No.
I know let's not drop
This
it.
is a chunk of metal.
Yeah. So this is
So very cool. And tell us about that camera.
it's a 16 millimeter camera. It usually doesn't have a handle, but I bought a handle for it because it makes it easier to do handheld shots. It has 3 lenses. Yeah, it's just a lot. And then you have to always, wind it once, you fired it and it stops. And I don't know, there's a lot to say about this.
No, and there's probably been some times when loading that camera is been challenging.
I've been trying my best to just be really good at loading it.
Right.
So,
but if you don't load it correctly, you're in big trouble.
Yeah.
And always a lot of people who just go, wow, it jammed,
Yeah. I actually have 16 millimeter film here too.
Oh, cool.
So,
okay. We got some film formats.
Yeah. So this is the cartridge that you load the Bolex with.
Right.
Yeah.
So, then we get into this whole thing of digital being so easy.
Mm-hmm.
And do you ever shoot like digital video for your own projects?
For client, if they don't have the budget to pay for film. Yeah.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right. But your own personal projects, you're going to these older films and cameras for the most part?
Yeah, yeah. And then going to a lab, getting it, scanned.
So why, I'm just trying to, it's just a tool.
Yeah.
And you just want to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And so what is it about these older cameras and formats that kind of get the blood going?
I watch a lot of, after going to school, right, at MJCU and then studying a lot of films, especially through you. And it's just kind of like the films that I enjoyed the most are shot on film.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And the ones that are in the movie theaters nowadays are just not good. Yeah.
A little too slick and a little too fast and a little too jazzy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Too many things going on.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. And moving forward, and we'll eventually get to Iggy, I think. Cool.
So the previous one was the intro to me, right, doing 16 millimeter.
Right.
Which I shot with this project with Iggy. And then this is a contact sheet, obviously, of myself, but also it's because the brand Ilford, I did a video commercial with them last year where I did a cold email. I reached out to them and I told them, hey, like, you have a series about photographers that use your products and stuff, but they're all, from the UK or in Europe. They're all white. There's no like minorities. There's no one represented in North America, and you have a whole, demographic audience over here, right? Or consumers that are buying your film. So I was like, here's a spec commercial if I were, featured, and then they were interested, and then they wanted me to refilm it. And then that was actually yesterday was a year ago it came out. And a lot of people were like surprised, like, whoa, how'd you get featured on Ilford?
But it's so cool you kind of did it on your own terms.
Yeah.
That's what I like, for sure. Because
Yeah.
usually when you go to things that level, you get a little co-opted and, you're conforming to their art director and they just see you as a client in a way. But you were able to get them to step up.
Yeah. And everything that I do, I don't wait for opportunity. I just like go for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
I feel like if you just wait for it, nothing happens.
Right. Right. So this was shot with your
Yes, with
Yashica.
my Matte 124G.
Can you hold that one up?
So this is my medium format TLR twins lens reflex camera. And those photos that you just saw were shot with this.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm going back to 1976 here with cameras. Pretty cool. And so this is what you said, a twin lens reflex, and you kind of look down.
Yeah.
And so in these pictures, is your sister helping?
Yes.
Or yes. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. You are a duo too.
When she wants to help. Yeah.
Well, you probably trade off, right?
Sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. And tell me a little bit about growing up in Jersey City.
What would you like to know?
Well, you live very close to NJCU, the college.
Yeah.
And what, like, Jersey City seems like, are you enjoying Jersey City right now? Let me put it to you that way. Like restaurants and social scene and skateboarding park and things like that.
I feel that my dad was very strategic. He would save money already before even knowing he was going to have a family. He was like that future forward thinking. So when my dad was looking for where we were going to live, where I live now, it was that to him, it was like there's an elementary school, a high school, and a college all within a small proximity that his children would be able to walk to.
Right.
But then, lo and behold, his children didn't want to go to the schools that he wanted.
Of course, everyone's independent.
Yeah. So he was upset. And then, you know, he had to deal with that. And for me, growing up in Jersey City, I understand people who want to move out and, you know, explore more. But because I'm someone who's been traveling so much since I was 20, I believe, and always going to different places by myself, I feel like every time I go back to Jersey City, I miss Jersey City. And I feel very fortunate to live and be so close to New York City. Whereas I'd understand if you lived like in the suburbs or somewhere that is like the middle of nowhere. But
the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. But living in Jersey City is like you have the convenience of like everything. And I'm a city girl at heart, so I just can't see myself living anywhere else in a sense of like a city. And that's right close to New York City without having to be there per se.
Sure.
Yeah.
And is Jersey City changing?
It is definitely changing, especially the fact that a lot of things are getting gentrified and stuff like that. Like, but for me, I don't live in downtown, so it doesn't really bother me so much because I just go there when I need to go there. And then I live in a residential area that's super quiet, and I just go back to where I live. Yeah.
Got it. And so do you have a room where you set this type of, like a situation like this up, self-portrait, or do you go to a studio, or how do you operate?
Pre-COVID, I had a studio in Mana Contemporary. And then now if I had to, I just work in my attic.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So is this the attic? Or
yes.
Yeah, cool.
Mm-hmm.
And why the neutral background? What does that do for you?
It's just minimal, just straight to the point, looking at the subject. If you have a background, you might get too distracted seeing all of that.
Right, because you've used it in most cases, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. And the lighting for this is?
It's just another one light situation.
Sure, definitely. Cool. Okay. And?
So these are photos. This now is like slowly incorporating skateboarding. Last year I went to, I believe I want to say Harlem. Yeah, Harlem. I went to a Black Lives Matter protest, but it involves with skateboarders. And so I documented that. And that was interesting because I've never experienced that.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess, are you skateboarding?
Yeah, I'm skateboarding, but I don't do tricks. Yeah.
Right. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, I got it. So we'll go on to the next one.
The next image goes along with that.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure. Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So he's tagged his skateboard to go with that.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually a pretty cool image. And that's in the city, or is that? Yep,
Mm-hmm.
definitely. And did you just come upon this, or you kind of knew it? Did you plan to go to this rally, or?
It was very last minute where my friend just said, hey, like this is going on like in a few hours. It's like maybe you're interested in going. And then my mom, you know, being overprotective, like you shouldn't go, but I still went.
Right. And what was that scene like?
It was, you know, not crazy. It was just pretty like, you know, peaceful in a sense that not a lot of like chaos was happening.
Right.
But it was just nice to see all these other skateboarders just coming together for the same you know, reason.
Sure. So do skateboarders like really hang out with each other?
Yeah, I would say
And
so.
and it's a good camaraderie, or is it competitive, or?
In Jersey City, I can't speak for every other skate park,
Sure.
but the one that I go to, which is the Oaks in downtown Jersey City, everyone's really cool with each other. There's no issues or dramas. Like
Mhm.
you could be any level and everyone still respects each other.
Right. And what's the average age of skateboarders, you think?
Usually after school, like around 12 or 3, you would see people like Iggy's age, which is high school, and just young teenagers. And then around like maybe 5 p.m. and later till it closes, it's like the 20-year-olds and up. Yeah.
Sure.
And the dads are in the early morning.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Cool. Okay. And we're going to move on.
Mhm.
Oh, so this is the towers in Jersey City.
Yeah. This photo blew up on my Instagram. Everyone was like, this is the most amazing photo I've ever seen. But then for me, I was just like, I literally was standing like in my car in front of 7-Eleven, and I just looked up and took a photo really quick.
Right.
Didn't think much of it.
So
Yeah.
is this a digital camera or is this film?
This one, I think out of the whole series, is actually not film. This is my cell phone.
I knew it.
Yeah.
And,
Mhm.
you know, because there's a lot of subtlety in that mist. And
Yeah.
I mean, digital is kind of amazing that way.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
much, you know, it captures on
Yeah.
there. So what is that? That's like just the steam coming off the light, or it's foggy
It was
and it's
foggy
lit up
that
there.
night,
So
yeah.
that kind of has that, looks like Cape Canaveral, you know, like
A lot of people
spaceships.
say it looks like a from Blade Runner.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure. Definitely. Mr. Ridley Scott. Right?
Yeah. Mhm.
So, and yeah, those are, I don't know, what are the names of those buildings? I forget.
Journal Square 1.
And 2, probably,
2, I
right?
don't know,
Yeah,
there's
very
2,
imaginative.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, I guess we're going up to 5 or 6, right?
I think there's 3 that
3?
are going to be.
Okay,
Mhm.
excellent. So here's the subject of your film
Yes.
and the subject of your photographs in the upper gallery.
Mhm.
And that's you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And where are you?
So we are at Berry Lane the skate park that Tony Hawk Foundation funded. And so it took them, I believe, like 5 years until they actually made the skate park.
Right.
But it was cool that, Jersey City won, I guess, something in regards to winning a grant to just get this done.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I feel terrible. Who's Tony Hawk?
So Tony Hawk is a 50-year-old plus skateboarder that he's like the, I guess, greatest of all time in skateboarding in a sense. Yeah.
Okay. And does he have ties to this area, or more California guy, or?
Oh, he's based in California, but he created a foundation for, I guess, places that don't have the funds to create skate parks. Yeah.
Right. Berry Lane, if people don't know it, is a great facility. It's so big.
It's huge.
Yeah. And kind of, I don't know. Whenever I would go to school, I would, take the turnpike and always make the left and then the right. I'm like 200 feet from here, but I never knew it existed.
I didn't know it existed.
Yeah. And then I would go to play tennis there, and I go, wow, this is great. It was one of the few places during the pandemic that you could play outdoor sports.
Yeah.
And they weren't really restricting it, shall we say.
Yeah.
So how did you meet Iggy, the subject?
So Iggy and I met last year when I started skateboarding. It just happened that he was at the skate park and then he approached me. We didn't know each other yet. And he was just like, oh, you should, go out there and skate and have fun. And I was just like, who are you? Like, I don't know you. And then every time I would go, I would see him. And then I would recognize how nice of a person he was. And he would always just like have good time with his friends and things like that. And then to the point that I realized that I wanted to have him as a subject for my film.
Right.
Yeah.
And did that kind of surprise him, or?
Yeah, he was just like, why me? What is this for?
Right.
Yeah. And so I literally had my Bolex. I showed him how to use it, and I just told him, I was like, if you are sure and down and dedicated to wanting to do this project, I promise you it's going to go far. It's going to get, everywhere. And I don't think he anticipated how much, publicity it's getting. But now it's like really cool. After talking to him a few days ago, I think he's just really happy and proud that people are now seeing it.
Right. Is he getting teased by his friends, or is he?
I think, maybe he's showing it slowly to people, but
Right.
I think when we were filming here, like let's say at Berry Lane, when people would see us film, everyone's like obviously looking at him, wondering why is this girl capturing him? Like, who is he? But then it also was an icebreaker because it made people want to talk to us too, because obviously they might want it to be extras and be
Or
part
be
of the
about
film.
them.
Yeah.
Why me? Why not me?
Mhm.
Cool. I like that. And this is a Polaroid too.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely.
So this was shot at the Oaks in downtown Jersey City. Right now, it's actually currently getting renovated, so we're not skating right now.
Okay.
But Iggy is a very fun and loving kid. He's very comedic, and he just does these crazy things that I don't even ask him sometimes, where he'll like do something like this, and I'm like, okay, and just start taking photos, And I would always, every time we would meet up, I would give him a photo book to take home and study and let me know his thoughts. So then when I would capture, I actually knew what he would like. Just because I don't want to do a project and he wasn't fond of it, that would be sad,
Well,
Yeah.
most photographers don't
Yeah,
collaborate with
yeah.
their subject that way.
But I'm very
Okay.
thoughtful in a sense of like I want him to be happy with the results. And so when I saw that he always gravitated to the photos that were very like humorous in a sense and just like candid, that's why I captured
Mhm.
these photos.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
And
there's just a contact sheet that I just wanted to include that you will see at the show.
sure.
Uh,
So yeah, contact sheets. I was just thinking, like with digital,
yeah.
you're not going to get a contact sheet.
I mean, you can make a
This-
fake one.
You can make a fake one. You can make anything,
Yeah.
right? But that's a lot of work for no real reason.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, normally you would get, this is like the negatives laid down on photographic paper, like they're not enlarged. It's the same size
Mhm.
as the film frame, and typically 36 exposure or less. And you're treating the contact sheet as the object, but in most cases, you would select whatever is conceived as the best shot and
Mhm.
display that.
Yeah.
So, but you've done both with this exhibit. You're
Yeah.
displaying contact sheets and one particular image from that.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting. And I think it actually works pretty well with the subject matter because it's movement.
Yeah.
And so you're kind of weaving around, whereas one image could be a little static almost.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. And you knew you were going to film and do stills when you started this?
Yep.
Because you just wanted to use all of this stuff.
That's a Super 8 camera.
Okay, cool.
Well, my last semester at school, which was this year, I took a documentary class, photography class, and then I was doing a color photography darkroom class, and then I was doing my media class with Joel, which is for the documentary. So there was 3 classes that showcased this project, and my professors were like, usually we don't let this slide using the same project for the same class, but then in a sense, I was using 3 different mediums.
Yeah, you had it made. You just did it well. So
I pre-planned this and
Sure.
made sure, yeah.
You're right. All teachers should be so lucky. Are we almost at the end of the shots?
Mhm.
Okay. So we're at 22, and this is our background.
Yeah.
It's actually my favorite shot.
Is it?
I think, I love solid black and white myself, but I love the way this is kind of muted. And it's something about, it's the moment. I love that his feet are off the board, so you really get that levitation feel, which you might get more in film or like the action, but to capture it in still is pretty good.
Yeah.
So if his feet were on the board, it would almost appear more static. So
yeah.
that's that, they used to call it the decisive moment where things are like not quite touching, but there's a lot of tension. So I think it works really well. And I like that there's people in the background too.
Yeah. So I was just gonna say that this is the trick that is the caveman.
Oh yeah, we never discussed the title. The name of the show is Cavemen Built My Skateboard.
Yeah.
So explain that one.
So when I first met Iggy, he would always jump off of, ledges and things. And I was like, what is this kid doing? Like, he's trying to hurt himself. And I didn't know the trick was is the caveman.
See, I didn't know that.
I didn't know.
So what is the actual trick?
Literally, you're on top and you just jump down and land.
Okay.
And when we first started, he didn't land that trick.
Right.
Until this project.
Okay.
So it was like
pressure was on him.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and that's why in the doc when you watch it, he talks about how until this project he was able to finally land it. He couldn't believe he was able to do it like over and over again.
Right.
But yeah, this photo, that's why I guess coincidentally is the main photo in the background as well. It's just that he was doing the caveman trick.
Right. So do all these tricks have names like that?
Yeah.
Okay. And I hate to ask, what's the caveman connection?
Oh, that I don't know.
Okay. They're I'm trying to relate it to like a knot tying. There's a name for each knot.
Yeah.
And something about the way you would tie it would explain it.
Yeah.
And so there must be a reason.
Yeah, there has to be a reason
for that. And it's almost like a separate language.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting too. Okay. So I think that's the last image from this series.
Mm-hmm.
Again, just reminding people we have an opening on this Sunday at the museum, 1301 Hudson Street. We still, and the hours of that opening, I should say, are 2 to 5. And if you're a little late, it's okay. We're still here. And we'll have light food and beverages, as they say. So we'd love to see you and support Joan. And I think we could, if it's okay, could we show like a minute, 90 seconds of the piece? And I think Rand said he could set that up. And so pretty cool.
Hey guys, did you know that a nut for a jar of tuna spelled backwards is a nut for a jar of tuna? Psh, mind blown.
What's that? So as we're watching some of this, you're like, is this, you think, the Super 8 or the Bolex or a little bit of both? Or both, right.
So, I got my first skateboard. I
We're
was
going to
6 years
stop it
old.
there.
It
This
was the
is
summer
just
of
the
2000.
teaser.
Yeah.
If people want to watch the 10-minute film, how can they find it online?
You could just look up my name and then it's on YouTube.
But aren't they going to see a lot of other things too?
No, it's like right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we will have a monitor playing. And we're not 100% of people heard the sound, but there's a pretty interesting soundtrack that goes with the film.
Yeah, we had a band called Old Speed that is based out of Asbury Park, New Jersey, and they were very kind and generous to let us use their music to go along with the documentary.
Sure.
Yeah.
And when you talk about we, is that you and Iggy, or is there a crew that helped you support this project?
My friend Walter introduced me to the band, and then he helped me, coordinate with them to record.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So anything else you want to bring up? We're kind of approaching an hour, which is usually the time. It went by really quick. I really want to thank you for doing it.
Yeah, no, thank
giving
you.
The photos.
Yeah.
Cool.
Do I want to say anything?
Yeah. Say hi to mom or
hi.
Or your sister.
Mom.
Yeah, she was on.
And sister. No, I'm just really thankful and grateful and appreciative for the opportunity to be able to exhibit my photography and my work here at the Hoboken Historical Museum. And I'm very grateful also to do this interview with you because yeah, we have long history at NJCU, being me being your student. And I just remembered when I took one of your classes that I didn't have to, and he's like, you don't have to be here, but why are you here? And for me, I told him, I was like, I just wanted to take another class with you. Like, that's just how much I admire him as a professor. So sucks for the people who don't get to have you now in class.
Yes, they're lost. They're lost. Anyway,
Yeah.
so thank you for saying that. And it was always good to have you in class and have your perspective. And
Yeah.
you always had good opinions and thoughts that were original. And you always went out of your way to share work, which generally I think we're in more, film theory classes or film history. I actually have a gift for you, which I'm going to give you as we sit here. I have to get up, and I noticed that you love these old cameras, and I sort of have a cool one that you might want to add to your repertoire.
What is
And
this?
so this is an unusual camera.
Is this like a panoramic?
It is. It's a wide lux with 35 millimeter.
Wow.
And it's one of those that I think it's 2 or 3 frames, 35 millimeter,
Okay.
and only limited f-stops, 3 shutter speeds, and it's like a little slit that
Okay.
photographs. And
Gotcha.
I think it would be great for some of your stuff.
Wow.
So, and it's yours. You decide to sell it
Oh my
to
gosh,
finance
guys.
projects.
You're trying to make me
That's
cry
fine
on
too.
camera right now.
That is our goal, to try to make our guests cry on camera,
Thank you.
or at least make them happy.
Yeah.
so on
yeah.
there.
No, I appreciate
So
it.
anyway,
Wow.
let's do a handshake. Okay.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you Sunday.
Yeah.
Do you think Iggy will come on Sunday?
I asked him. He has something else, but
Okay.
yeah.
God, he's got to put new ball bearings in.
Maybe.
Okay. Well, we'd love to see him and his family,
Yeah,
here,
for sure. Yeah.
and we'll be seeing you on Sunday.
Yeah. You're gonna see everyone in the family.
Excellent. Excellent.
You'll see mom.
Have I met your mom? No, just on
No,
Zoom.
you haven't met
Right.
her yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
She looks like a great gal. Okay. So we are segueing out. This was really a lot of fun. The exhibit will be up starting this Sunday, and it will be on view till November 7th. And we love our upper gallery exhibits because they, connect us to a lot of people we might not normally have visit the museum. And then those people enjoy the historical exhibit downstairs. And the name of the exhibit downstairs is called The Avenue, The History of Washington Street. And I should mention that these exhibits are supported by Hudson County Cultural and Heritage Affairs through the county executive, Tom DeGeese, people in the office such as Gina Hewling and Joe Wax. Are big supporters of the museum, and we really appreciate that we can do these upper gallery exhibits. I think, that's the card, of course, for the downstairs exhibit, which is a lot of fun. So if you come visit the museum, you're going to get some good things to check out. And someone was very excited, so I love that. Wow.
Yeah.
And what's this? Oh, that's right. This upcoming September 26th, we have a poetry event with different area poets. Danny Schott in the lower right, or at least my lower right, also Joe Lewis. And they are going to be doing New Jersey poems, and it's a great crew, and we're really looking forward to that too. The spoken word is very important. And also we do another program, which is sort of like this. It's called Hoboken Talks, except it's every Thursday night, and it's live, just like this one. And Karen Listener will be interviewed by host Jack Silbert, and then Jenny Pugh, who is the new librarian for Hoboken Library, will also be interviewed by Jack Silbert. So thank you, Jack. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Jenny, in advance. Thank you, Rand Hoppe, for engineering this. And we are signing off.